record tonight, we can talk about this. So today's the day for another install. Maybe a little controversial, although at the end of the day, you guys can't deny that this is gonna be pretty cool. So nonetheless, we're gonna get into installing the hard-tuned Underglow system with the car. I've had this in a box for about a month, maybe more, because I just wanted to make sure I knew exactly how I was gonna go about doing the install before diving into it. But nonetheless, I wanna do this also to help some folks because I haven't seen any particular tutorials on the Elantra N, and so maybe pioneer a potential way to kind of work around it, because every car is gonna be different, because no car was obviously intending to have this installed, but I think it's gonna look really great because I have seen some other cars, some other Elantra N's with it, so I know nonetheless it's possible. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm gonna try and do this a little bit more as a step-by-step install, involve you guys and kind of let you guys feel confident about potentially doing this with your in cars, but let's go ahead and just get into it. All right guys, quick add-on because I didn't do a very good job at just the basics of the system. Really straightforward. Just this side here really is just a quick start. The real emphasis is to test it first. So I did plug everything up before even starting to install it on the car. I plugged everything up, made sure when they were all connected that they worked with the module, and was able to change colors and different things like that. So definitely recommend at least, you know, going through a test run before any install onto the car. I'll turn it over. I'm hoping this is clean because I'm putting this right on my paint, which is fun. The key thing that I want to kind of highlight, which I guess I'll flip back on the other side, is that you're going to have four basically strips that are going to come in the box. You're going to have fronts, you're going to have sides, and then you're going to have the rear. And they all have these sort of twist connection points. And so essentially, when you put one on one portion of the car, you're gonna have a connection on one side and then a female connection on the other. And you're gonna have to find a way to route the cable to then connect that next portion. And there's little cables in between that are the connectors, the jumpers that are gonna go in between each. So it's basically just a chaining. If you've seen, if you're familiar with electrical stuff, that's pretty obvious to you. But it's basically just chaining off of the original module that's gonna lay in the hood and then ultimately what's controlled through the car. You're gonna have that connection point, which is why I showed the power wire going through that hole underneath, which connects to the front. The front is really the daisy chain that's gonna go on both sides and then to the rear. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys on that. Like I said, the instructions are pretty great, so I'm not gonna go step by step through that. I think the install is pretty self-explanatory other than that, but I wanted to be able to add that in there to help you guys out.
No. Pretty Caroline, stone cold stunner. She was a winner, started working at the dine. Serves you some reminder to count your blessings, 'cause it's telling fair. Put you down and leave you there, don't make them scared. Yeah, it's the
Look what we got a new. I've been keeping that in the box. Yeah, haven't even got to the lights yet, but this is a little overdue, so I don't mind.
Hey, I got a cutter.
All right, call me lazy, but we're back to using our little secret compartment to run wires through. And I know people have said, kind of differing opinions about this, but I just don't necessarily, I don't want to take the battery out, but I also don't really want to mess with the stock boot, electrical boot, because if there's any issues, obviously I know that will be attributed to me since that's never been undone. The little trick that I actually learned from my buddy Rob the Enthusiast with fishing the wire basically through the door panel right here, call it a panel gap, whatever you want, but being able to fish that through and then bring it in straight through the door right here has worked out for me with the JB4 in the past, and is definitely going to be my method, at least for short term with this. Again, with my method, seems to work well, and so I'm just going to bring the other cord through here, and then we'll tackle the tough part, which is obviously getting things situated on the car and then getting those parts wired up. Okay, so we have gotten, after all this time, the front portion pretty well done. This is obviously just, you know, from a top, which I'm glad again that I have the lip, because you really hide whatever is going on behind the lip because it actually curves down. Yeah, so you can see I'm doing a little bit of wire tucking. I did overlap in the middle because I wanted to make sure that you didn't really see much of a gap, but also because I'll probably be able to flip it, but because of the way the bumper curves right here and the lip goes back, it was hard to get the, you know, because I have screws here also, it was hard to get it to the point where it would still stick. So I ended it off kind of early before you get to this portion, which I don't think will, you know, you'll really notice once everything's all said and done. But for the most part, definitely this is the easier part, to be honest. As you can see, I routed power cable through this hole right here. So I routed both cables through here, and then I just kind of, you know, ran things all the way over to the end. I still got to cut that zip tie over there. But this part is the easier part. Now it's going to be probably taking off the wheel and seeing how I'm going to now connect the sides, which laying the sides will be pretty easy, but, you know, obviously connecting the sides will be the fun part. Well, at least when we record tonight, we can talk about this. I'm like, I want to redo now. I'm like, we gotta run this back like in a couple of months when we know that the weather's gonna be nice. A little rainy morning, but nonetheless, we're heading over to Escondido Cars and Coffee for a special day for KDM Car Week. Korean Car Week is what they're calling it. In a collaboration with Escondido Cars and Coffee, we rounded up some troops. Haven't gotten there yet to see all who's gonna make it out, especially in this weather. But nonetheless, I know that there are some folks that will still brave it, and so excited to see them out. But I am going to be there in about 10 minutes, so let's go ahead and hop on into it. Well, we got some folks. Yeah. KDM day, the first KDM day at Escondido Cars and Coffee. Not necessarily the most ideal in terms of weather, but still a great turnout. Big shout out to those guys that made it out. You know, a lot of them from the San Diego side of the N Club, but still some guys that made it out from further up north as well. So big shout out to those guys for braving the weather, hanging out even after we had a couple of downpours. You know, they brought out some tent, they had a canopy out too, which is great. But you know, it was just great having some representation out there. There were a couple of you know, not necessarily obscure, but there was a K900 out that was pretty cool to see. That was Kia's real like take on the S-Class back in the day, which obviously now we have like the Genesis G90 and things like that. But there were a couple of kind of one-offs here and there, but obviously a very big representation was around the N's and the inline cars. So really great to have them out. Like I said, it was a great event despite the weather. Mike and the guys over at Escondido Cars and Coffee, again, shout out to them. They definitely are looking forward to doing it again. Obviously, barring some better weather, we can't control it, but hopefully we'll be able to kind of get some luck with that. They said this was probably the worst that they've had in terms of weather doing a Cars and Coffee, and yet it was still a pretty good turnout. So nonetheless, we'll hop back into whatever we're doing because I probably won't make a full video just out of this, but that was just fun, being able to kind of be a part of bringing some folks together for the KDM side of the house. I was able to get the routing around the wheel well over to the side skirt, and you can see the power cables. Please excuse my slipper. But nonetheless, the power cable now has made its way from here in the front to the side skirt. If you have one of those trim removal tools, they're pretty easy to take out. You got 3 of them here, and then from here on out all the way around to the top, it pretty much will just pull out. If you just give it a little bit of force, you could pull the wheel well liner out. And then you got one more here, and then here was the tricky part, because you do have 2 regular screws, but these 2 here, like the panel is really hard to get this to come off, and I was worried I was gonna pretty much break this if I put too much pressure on it. And so ultimately what I ended up doing was getting it off enough. As you can see, I still kind of have this tab sticking out, which I'll try and kind of fix that a little bit later. But you have to kind of pull this out, and then you can also remove this screw over here, which will give it a lot of flex. But you really kind of have to muscle this open on this side and force the cable all the way through so that you can get it, you can kind of grab it like two-handed, one hand squeezing it through this way and the other hand grabbing it on this side, so that you can then bring it down to the bottom. And then there's a nice little cutout as if it was just made perfectly for something of this sort, that comes out right here at the bottom. So this is where the cord's hanging out at the bottom. And so I'm gonna run the strip obviously along the side here, and then we'll find a way to just kind of snag up the cable so that it's not hanging. And then that'll get us on the sides. Essentially, the wire fed through the rear wheel well and comes up through here. I actually use the exhaust valve bracket here to zip tie and bring the wire up to make sure it never gets to the point of hanging on the exhaust. You're gonna probably have it hang off a little bit, but that's where I use the little plastic clips, which again, I didn't share too much about this, but the kit has a lot of these little plastic kits and things that you can use, as well as the double or the 3M kind of clips that really work well with zip ties. So I used a lot of those. I used 3 of those kind of going along the sides or along the rear here. So I'm hoping that when the diffuser's here, you won't see the strip anymore. And that'll complete that look. But again, I wanted to add this on too, because I didn't really do a great job of explaining what I ended up doing at the end of the day. And I had to get creative because I didn't want to lift up the car just to show you guys that. But nonetheless, hope that helps. I'm going back to, again, where I was at with the other portion of the video. Again, if I haven't already put in some plugs in there in my videos, I was able to just route the cord straight underneath the last fit floor liners, and you know, they're probably doing their own thing under there, but really the cool thing is being able to route the button right up next to my seat right here. And so I could easily move this forward, I guess, if somebody shorter than me, like say my wife, was driving the car, and make sure that there's no interference with the button. But I can easily turn off the button right here. And then obviously I have the remote, which, to be totally honest, I might be using a little bit more often than the app, just because it's so convenient. I mean, they have a good amount of colors, color ranges, modes that you can change on the app or on the remote. That, you know, yeah, the app's cool, but you know, sometimes just on the fly, if you're, you know, at a car meet or something and you just want to turn it on, just have a remote in your glove box or even in my little center console area right here and just use it. So that's an option that I'll probably use a lot, but it is really cool. I was messing around with the app, which again probably contributed to my battery dying. Try and get the car to jump here and see if everything's back working the way that it should. Was messing around with the app, and it's so responsive, the way that you can swoop through colors, change all kinds of different color combinations, really all you could think of, and then you can do sync with music, which I'll try that out probably at some point as well, and then some other dynamic modes that are pretty cool. So all in all, highly recommend the hard tune system. Hope this was helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe. A lot of stuff coming, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.